In the late 1800s, baseball stadiums were just wooden platforms with wooden seats. However, this didn't last long because baseball started growing. The fans were growing, the league was growing, and the money was also growing. This led to the golden age of baseball. Stadiums were being made out of metal and concrete and had two tiers or levels. The first of which was Shibe Park, home to the Philadelphia Athletics, now located in Oakland, California.
McDowell with 34 homers.
This is baseball now.
Fly ball center field, carrying pretty well. Hampson back. At the wall. Would you believe it? They've done it again.
The kick, and here it comes. Swing and a miss! Swing and a miss! Swing and a miss!
They've done it. They've walked their way.
25 innings. High drive to left. Yelich watching.
Opposite field base hit. Unless he can throw him out. Big time.
Zager launches one out to right center field. Trout going back at the wall. Leaps up and he got it!
But how much waste do stadiums produce? Four of the biggest professional U.S. sports, football, basketball, hockey, and baseball, produce 35,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide each year from the fans only. Now, why the heck am I talking about CO2? Carbon dioxide is a colorless gas that is naturally part of our atmosphere. It is 60% denser than the air we breathe. Carbon dioxide acts as a cover to our atmosphere, keeping the temperature steady. If we didn't have this layer around our atmosphere, the average temperature would be 0 degrees Fahrenheit. What would happen if the Earth continually kept consuming CO2 all the time? I'll tell you what would happen. As the ozone layer would thicken, the sun's rays would have a harder time escaping, causing the atmosphere to get hotter and hotter. The oceans would rise insanely high, all plants would die, causing oxygen to get totally depleted, thus killing us and everything. Well, you know what's crazy? This is happening right now. But trees produce CO2, so why are people planting trees, huh? What? All plants and living things take in CO2 and turn it into oxygen.
And that's a fact.
But why is this horrible thing happening? It's simple. World leaders, people in power, and people with lots of resources don't care. They don't care because their generation won't experience most of the effects of the climate crisis, and also because they're scared of change. Wait, the climate crisis? But we were just talking about the effects of carbon dioxide. The climate crisis is the name of all the other things careless people are currently destroying, like 3-year-olds playing with their older siblings' Lego. Global warming and climate change are huge understatements. I even consider climate crisis a bit of an understatement. I like to call it the global emergency. Take a minute and think about how long a second is. Now, think about how big a football stadium is. Now that you've thought about this, here's something. Every second, one football stadium of trees burns because of us. This is how many trees are getting destroyed real time. If you type in how much forest, the first thing that comes up is how much forest is left. This is happening because humans are too lazy to grow grass. Yep, surprisingly, soy is a lot easier to grow than grass. Though to grow soy, most farms cut down huge segments of the rainforest, or even worse, burn them. The soy is then fed to mass populations of cows and other livestock. Soy is not in their natural diet, so they let off an unnaturally crazy amount of gas. This is the main source of pollution in the world. Not cars. Cows. On the topic of cars, though, they also produce a huge amount of pollution. Although most people can't afford electric cars, which is respectable, they are the best for the global emergency. What they don't tell you is that most sources that you plug your cars into, the electricity comes from a power plant that burns coal, which releases an unnatural amount of CO2 into the atmosphere. With the use of solar panels, this could be fixed, and there will be less power outages. The amount of solar energy that hits a square mile in 1 year is equal to 1,100,000,000 pounds, or 198,951 metric tons. Solar panels collect electrons from the sun's light that generates it into a form of DC electricity, which has to be sent through something called an inverter and converted into AC electricity, which is what we use every day. The electricity that does not get used can either be stored or sent off somewhere else. About 11 million tons of plastic enter the ocean every year. This affects and kills millions to billions of living creatures all the time. Imagine being a dolphin and happily swimming through the ocean with your friends. You are chasing a school of fish and you round it up to the surface of the water with the help of some birds. You haven't eaten for a few days and you catch a new fish. One of your dolphin companions beside you starts to act weird, and you wonder what's going on with them. It starts suffocating. You don't know what to do. Before you know it, they are dead. There is no time to lament, and the school of fish is getting away. You catch a few more fish and eat them. Later, when you are sleeping, you wake up to pain. It's in your stomach, and it hurts so bad that you can't move. You stay there for many hours, and eventually you start running out of breath, but you can't swim to the surface. Everything starts to fade and you're dead. This has become a normal thing that can happen to all sea life. Here's what happened. One of the fish you ate had swallowed a toxic or sharp piece of plastic. The world is dying before us, and most likely you are not doing anything about it. Back to the stadium. The walls of the stadium could be made out of hempcrete, which is a decomposable brick which is flame-proof, as well as having little impact on environment in the process. However, it does need some kind of central framework to be laid around, so it could use a metal frame for the whole stadium in general. For the grass of the ballpark, I would probably use something like turf, made by Field Turf or some company like that, because normal grass would waste water and money. There would be a huge solar plant outside of the stadium, probably in a desert nearby. Well, if you're living nearby a desert, or if the stadium's nearby a desert, it would store up way more energy than the stadium would need on a daily basis. So when the stadium isn't in use, it would power the neighborhoods around it. The stadium would be shaped in a certain way that it could amplify sound, making the crowd much louder when trying to project as much sound as possible into the nearby area. The games would be broadcasted on YouTube so that a wider range of people could watch the games without having to pay. So many broadcasting services you have to pay like $30 to $60 a month for it, and I don't think it's fair, because everybody should be able to watch sports. There would be 2 live streams at the time of each game, commentary and ambience versions. The ambience versions being pretty much just the game with no commentary and just a crowd. The stadium would have a large digital screen on the front side and on the back side. Most stadiums only have one on the front side, so it's harder for people in that area to see. It would have 4 gun speakers situated strategically around the stands, giving the audio an immersive feel. Here's a diagram, or kind of like a blueprint of the stadium that I've been imagining. I might keep working on it as well. This is a drawing that I made a little while ago. Thanks for watching. If you support climate change, then like this video, and wait, that sentence came out horribly wrong. I mean, if you don't support climate change, then like this video. That's shaky. And see you in the next video!